Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Supergirl Season 1, Episode 8. It's called Medusa. Full spoilers for the episode as always. And of course, this was the lead-in to the four-part crossover, or the first part of the four-part crossover, which is really a lead-in to the three-part crossover.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it like that because I feel like I think people who I think for us this was okay because we knew going in that it was going to be a little tail end lead into it.
Yeah.
But I do have to admit, all of their advertising did say 4-night event, 4-night crossover, and I feel like the people who tuned into this just because, like, you know, the ones who don't normally watch Supergirl, who are fools, don't get me wrong, but the ones who don't normally watch Supergirl who watched this because it was part of a crossover are probably,
They got shafted.
yeah, they're probably a bit salty about it.
Do you know what the worst part is? If it had been just at the end, I could almost forgive it. But the fact that they did that poll early on, where it's the people who thought, "Oh, this is the crossover," and then you get that, it's like, "Oh, this is the crossover." You know, they wouldn't turn it off because they'd think stuff was coming.
Yeah, and then halfway through you got it again.
Yeah, it's just like, "Oh, that was a dick move, CW."
Well, see, I liked that because I liked the idea that they were like, trying to get over, but
See, that's the thing. I like it from our perspective.
yeah.
But for those who, again, don't watch Supergirl as a regular show and just tune in because it was a crossover, and instead of going, hang on, this is a normal episode, forget it, I'm just going to turn it off, stuck it out because these little things were happening throughout.
I mean, so I wanted to just say that because I feel like some people will be pissed about it. I, of course, like Supergirl, so I was okay with it being a regular episode for the most part.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty fun one. We had a alien virus, which is Medusa, which is what Cyborg Superman got from the Fortress of Solitude, and he unleashes it on the alien bar. It kills all the aliens, but doesn't kill the humans. Puts Mon-El out of commission, and then there's a plan to release it in the air the third act of any like big action superhero movie in the last like 5 years, basically.
Also, I want to say, I didn't realize there were that many humans in that bar.
Not me, I must admit.
It surprised me a little bit when they all kept running out, and I was like, all the aliens are dead. I was like, oh, so you're all human.
Yeah,
It's a lot of them.
yeah. I didn't realize it either.
I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, it
Don't get
doesn't
me wrong.
bother me.
It just surprised me in the moment.
So this was a Thanksgiving episode, which had some callbacks to last year's Thanksgiving, with the heating up the turkey with the heat vision and so on.
Still not sold that that's really safe. I mean, come on.
Solar energy is clean.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about that. I'm just saying there is no way that is cooked evenly.
I trust Kara. I think Kara can heat up a turkey. I had a lot of fun with this early stuff though, mainly because Alex fighting with Jimmy and Winnie, Jimmy and Win.
I was wondering what happened there.
Jimmy and Win, because they want to reveal that he's guardian, and she wants to come out as gay to her mother. Well, all of them really, because none of them know. Yeah, just Kara does. But but they don't know that's what she's wanting to say, so they're fighting her on it.
Yeah, when they all get up at the table.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she's just like, no, don't you dare.
Yeah, because Jimmy starts speaking about things, and she's like, no, 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 she's not that understanding. Sit down.
Yeah, I love how terrified Win looks. He's like, just sit down, just get away.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, let's tail into Alex's story then, because there's a couple of key scenes after this relating specifically to her. Of course, you know, Maggie gets hurt at one point and she stitches her up. That's, you know, small little scene, good chemistry once again. The scene where Eliza basically reveals she already kind of figured it out
Yeah.
and makes Alex feel quite good about it. I thought this was a pretty heartwarming scene. I do think it was a little overwritten.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just I don't know, like every time Eliza opened her mouth, it kind of felt like this feels less like dialogue and more like here's the message. Whereas the rest of the storylines felt so natural and the rest of it for the rest of the episode feels very natural and organic. Whereas this scene, it felt kind of like here's the
nice
message,
yeah,
to take away from this. You know, the mother, like and I'm cool with her, the mother, Eliza being okay with it and the message she's getting across to her. It just the dialogue was a bit too on the nose, greeting card almost.
A bit clunky.
Yeah. But otherwise, it was fine. I will say the biggest laugh I got at this episode was probably from the last Alex Maggie scene. And it's not the thing that I laughed at is relatively funny on its own, but it was the build up that really made it funny. So Alex is in her house, right, in her apartment, and she's just drinking some beer. She's having a quiet night in, and the door goes. For some reason, she goes to her gun and puts her gun behind her back as if there might be a murderer on the other side of the door. And she looks through the peephole, and Maggie's just got this giant grin, this the fisheye lens because it's through the peephole, and she's like just smiling at her, and it just really made me laugh. That look.
I do love the idea that every time her door goes, she reaches for a gun.
Yeah, because it's not like she's in a state of emergency. It was just, oh no, doors went, better get my gun.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Then
that made me laugh, but it wasn't near my top laugh.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get to it. But,
we will.
Yeah, so she opens the door, and they Maggie sort of. You kind of got it from the previous scene where she was patched up that she was changing her mind about the whole staying away from this relationship. And Alex, of course, realised a lot of things about herself, and that it wasn't really just about Maggie. It was about herself and feeling comfortable and all that kind of thing. And they have their kiss, and I think what I really liked about this scene though is after the kiss, because Maggie has this emotional sort of speech almost about how she feels, and she kisses Alex. Although I will say, when Maggie said kiss the girls you want to kiss, I'm like, I'll live by that. Thanks for that advice, Maggie. Thanks for that advice.
Except in your case, it's assault.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Oh dear. But after the kiss, Alex she cracks a joke. She's like, "Wait, so you like me then?" Is what you're saying? She cracks a little joke, and it was again that playful chemistry that's made them very endearing the entire time. It's not just been. Because it could have very easily turned into sappy romance, but again, it felt organic, it felt natural. It felt like these were characters falling for each other rather than, oh, we want to have a romance, let's force them into these slots.
Yeah, definitely.
So, no, I appreciate that. Speaking of romance, let's go to the other romance plot of the episode, which was Kara and Mon-El. Now, I'm almost a little bit disappointed that I kind of wish they'd left another couple of episodes before they even started with him having feelings for her, because at the start when Kara thinks that he's flirting with Eliza, I kind of wanted it to be true. I kind of wanted to go the whole episode with him trying to get in with their mum. I really did.
Oh, that would have been fantastic.
But, I'll live with the disappointment, okay?
I will, just for the one scene that it led to.
Right, okay. Is this them playing Monopoly?
Yes, and her conversation. That cracked me up.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed the conversation. Kara's trying to ask, because Eliza puts it in her head that Mon-El might like her, and she keeps phrasing it like, we would phrase it when we're dancing around the subject. Do you like me? Do you have a crush on me?
It cracked me up straight away when she just blurts it out. It's like, do you like me? And he's like, yeah, of course.
Honestly, I think I was less laughing at that point, and I was just being like, aw, it was really, really adorable.
It was, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just been nice, but it was.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is though? It's because she's sitting in her outfit during that scene playing Monopoly.
I know.
There's something just ridiculously cute about it.
There is. I'm not going to argue that at all.
Yeah. But then she blurts out, "Do you want to mate with me?" Because he's just not getting it. Although I don't believe that he's not getting it. I think
he's having a laugh, isn't he?
He's playing the fool. He's having some fun at her expense. But then when he's all delirious, he goes in for a kiss, and then he forgets it at the end of the episode. How do you feel about him not forgetting? He pretends to forget it.
Yeah, they'll come back up.
It will, but how do you feel that they're doing this?
It's a little bit annoying, I guess, but at the same time, I don't really mind.
I think it's a little bit annoying because it does feel more like, oh, this is typical CW drama bollocks.
But it's no worse than anything else I've expected off these shows anyway. So it's like, okay, I'll allow a certain degree of it.
Well, yeah, but Supergirl's typically
has been better than that for the most part.
Has been better than that. But that's not even why I'm okay with it. I'm kind of just okay with it because they do have the chemistry to carry it. Like, I'm not annoyed that they're pursuing this.
Yeah, it's not as if it was Kara and Jimmy.
Yeah, because we weren't all for that. And the writers weren't either because they abandoned that as quickly as humanly possible.
Good for that.
But, nah, because I was... Yeah, the whole... It's a little contrived and it does feel a little bit, CW relationship. But they have the chemistry and... To be fair, it's, it almost just suffers a little bit because it's like immediately before a scene where Alex and Maggie have like an excellent...
Doesn't help, does it?
No. But, no, they do have good chemistry, so I can't complain too much. As for the main plot of the episode, so everything... I do have one complaint about this episode, and it does feel a little bit overstuffed. We've kind of praised how nice the pace has been this season, whereas this one I felt almost was a little bit too much.
That, and it's almost a bit too neat.
It's a bit neat.
It wraps too much up.
Because it deals with John becoming a white Martian.
Yeah.
It deals with Lily and Luthor being Cadmus. The whole is Lena Luthor actually maybe possibly evil.
Yeah.
And
then obviously you've got the continuation of the Alex stuff, which is kind of tied up in this one, for now.
Yeah, although I feel like that was approaching its natural conclusion at this point.
It was, but it doesn't help when it happens to be with everything else. It just kind of adds one more thing.
Yeah, it was, for an episode that wasn't actually even a mid-season finale, because there's one more after the crossover.
Yeah.
Or after this week, I should say.
Yeah.
There was some fun stuff in it. I really liked, Kara flying around trying to get the missile. Was a lot of fun. Even just the fight in, Cyborg Superman picking up the L Corp sign, and even the fortress. Although Kalex,
oh man, that broke my heart. This was a bit. This may be unforgivable.
Yeah, I'm upset because see when obviously Cyborg Superman's done something to him. He's reprogrammed him. He's done something to him to make him attack Kara when she shows up at the fortress. And all I could think as soon as it started was like, Kara, now please. Don't hurt him.
I was like, it's evil Kalex. It's like, I'm not sure I can cope with this. And it's like, oh no, they're going to have to put him out of commission. And then he just goes, it's like, no, not Kalex. Yeah. It's the only one I really care about.
It upset me. I'm not going to lie.
It's like, when they shoot the dog. That's what this is the Supergirl equivalent of.
There was some nice back and forth in the plot with is Lena evil? Kara goes to see her early on as a reporter. And Lena shows some true colours when she calls her mom, and we think she's evil. And it's funny because obviously throughout the episode I'm thinking, okay, maybe cause I know Flash isn't showing up till towards the end, but there was a point when the rocket went up and it dispersed, and I was thinking, oh, maybe Flash is going to appear now and he'll do a quick run around vortex, Speed Force bro.
Honestly, I thought Kara was just going to the classic suck it all in and then just blow it out in space or something.
Yeah, that was also an option. I think it's just because I've seen Barry do that kind of thing before.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was just kind of like, maybe he was going to jump in there, but no, it turned out to be no. Lena's not actually that bad. Although it did make her scene where she completely grills Supergirl for being like a not racist, but Luthor prejudiced.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like when she's like
just being judgmental.
But what felt weird about that scene though was Lena was like, "Oh, just like you judge my brother." Well, yeah, your brother was a homicidal maniac.
It's like he's in prison. Everyone's judged him.
Yeah, you changed the company's name because you knew he was this way and you wanted to get away from it.
He has literally been judged by a jury of his peers and suffered the consequences. We're allowed to judge him now.
Yeah, and because I also think like our plan would have still worked had she just been honest to Supergirl and told her everything. They could have still went through with the plan. And even then it would have went smoother because Supergirl and John wouldn't have worried about
Split
it.
up, and they would have stayed on Cyborg Superman together.
Yeah. So all in all, Lena, bit of a ditz.
Yeah, she's not the brightest, is she?
Didn't think that through. That said, though, I'm not necessarily convinced that she is all goody two shoes now. I feel like
It's an act to convince Supergirl.
It's well, I don't know if it's even just necessarily that. I feel like even if she's not evil yet, I feel like this is the beginning seeds of she'll start doing more grey area things, and then over the season, like I feel like by the time we get to the end of the season, she's probably the main villain.
Maybe. Do you know what I think it is? I don't think it's that even that she's not evil. I think she just doesn't like Lillian more than she is evil. Like, so she'd rather just foil her plan and do her own.
Yeah, yeah, nah, that makes some sense. Well, when your mother comes in and basically says, "Yeah, you're right. I love your brother more than you, but hey ho, what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
Being
pretty
se-
rough, innit?
being second place isn't that bad, Lena. Come on, grow up."
Yeah, it's only 2 out of 2.
Dear. Uh, but no, lot of plot resolutions.
Yeah.
Lot of plot resolutions. So Barry shows up at the end. Him and Cisco show up through the portal, and they're in Kara's apartment, and she sort of stumbles in, and Cisco has a bit of a burn. He's still pissed at Barry, apparently, because when Kara calls him his friend, he's like, "Well, friend's a bit strong. We work together."
Yeah.
Yeah, bit harsh.
That gave me a chuckle.
Bit harsh. Yeah. But no, I mean, I will say this. Obviously, the one thing we've not talked about yet is after one of the scenes, it just casually cuts to the inside of a spaceship, like that's normal.
Yeah.
So we just cut to space, and the ship goes past. I'm like, wait, is this a Dominator thing? Are this setting up the
That's what I always thought. I was like,
crossover?
what's going on?
And then we go in, and we've got these robed, almost Sith Lord looking figures being like, "Have we found Mon-El? Oh, we must find Mon-El. He will perish," or whatever line of dialogue they have.
Yeah.
They're hunting Mon-El, which means they're probably other Daxamites.
I mean, they could be, but why would they want to hurt him if they're Daxamites?
Well, if you remember last week, Mon-El was almost going to admit something to Kara about his true nature. So if it is Daxamites, then maybe he's more of a criminal. Maybe
Could be.
I don't know.
Seems like a long way to go just for such a petty thing. I don't know.
Well, maybe it's a personal thing, though. Maybe the person that's hunting him
That's
is
true.
the person who was directly wronged by Mon-El.
That's fair. We'll have to wait and see, I suppose.
Also, when Kara was kissing Mon-El, or when Mon-El was kissing Kara, how was her head not going, "I watched you have sex with Miss Tessmacher. I am playing second fiddle to Miss Tessmacher."
Good point.
I'm just saying, it would be on my mind.
I mean, if you were kissing Mon-El, that's all you're saying.
You're twisting my words here.
I'm not twisting them. I'm just repeating them back to you.
I'll admit, if Mon-El kissed me, my reaction would be different than Kara's.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So that is fair. That's fair. So, yeah. Is there anything else? I actually feel we got through this. We went 40 minutes on last week's episode, so I'm almost like, wait, we're only 18? Surely we're missing something, but I don't think we are.
I thought
Oh, really?
Cyborg Superman was a bit more Superman-y in his power set this week.
Yeah, he seems sort of fly around a bit, though. I still don't think he should be calling himself Cyborg
I
Superman
agree,
yet, though.
but at least he's got some sort of like heat vision-y thing going on.
Yeah, a one eye.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'll take it for now. And what I say, in that fight, I really liked when he threw Jean into the
Containers.
the containers,
Yeah.
and it just fell on him. That looked really good.
It looked good. Also,
I am disappointed John didn't just phase through it though.
yeah,
like,
I feel
to
like
come out.
I feel there should be more. Even before that, there was a moment when he had him pinned against something, and I thought that would be a good time to just phase through him. Sean.
I mean, maybe for this particular occasion, we could argue the White Martian stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Like it wasn't working. Maybe it wasn't up because he's clearly not up to full strength.
Well, and also right after that, he goes full White Martian. So clearly, he's more of a White Martian at that particular point than he is a Green Martian.
Yeah, so maybe he just hasn't got the phasing ability at this moment.
I do feel like the show, even though he's used it a few times, it's kind of shied away from that particular ability for some reason.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's more this season though that's it's been an issue because I mean, the very first time we saw him be like, the idea that he was more than just Hank Henshaw was a phasing.
Yeah, it's not even like it's because like a cost thing. I'm pretty sure that's maybe one of the cheapest effects they could probably do, like more so than full CG Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it's just going through something. Like compared to what they do, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, maybe there's a reason for it. I'd be curious to find out. It's lucky that Miss Martian didn't happen to be in that bar when the gas
It
went
is
off.
convenient, that, isn't it? She had the night off.
Yeah. Then again, maybe she's not been working there since the whole.
That's a good point. We haven't seen her since
Oh
that.
wait, she's in a cell still. She's not.
Oh, of course.
She's in a cell. What am I talking about? Yeah, never mind. Scratch that from the record, folks.
Ah, you fool.
You went along with
I
it.
know. I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up.
You should have went. No, Peter. She's in a cell. Don't be silly now. Don't be forgetful.
I know. I haven't. I just. You're just a dick. What can I say?
Oh dear. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. I enjoyed the episode. I don't think it's one of the strongest of the season so far. I feel like.
It's kind of middling.
Yeah, do you know, I think it had a lot of really good moments. It just maybe had a little bit too much stuffed into it.
And as a criticism, while it had too much stuffed into it, it did not have enough win, especially for an episode where you're trying to get new viewers, because obviously, you want to showcase what you're similar to the other show. Like if you've got people like coming from the Flash, put win in the front and center.
Yeah. That said, though, you did remind me of one of my other sort of funny moments is when Kara's like, "Oh, I'll go and talk to Lena and get answers the old-fashioned way as a reporter. I can be sly, I can get answers." And both Alex and Wynn just sort of like in sync, being like, "Yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah, so you can." And then she walks away and go, "Hack her anyway." Yeah, obviously.
To be fair, I think that was a bit of a problem as a whole, because obviously it was marked as a crossover, and we've talked about that, how it wasn't really. And it was almost too much of a standalone of a regular episode. It feels like maybe it should have been a bit more standalone to try and get people, even if they were sticking around, it could have done something that just introduced them to things a little bit easier.
Yeah, it feels like they maybe should have, even if it was just going to be an episode of Supergirl with a little tag at the end to lead into a crossover, they should have maybe been a bit more smart about what the episode was, and maybe saved a lot of this for the episode after the crossover.
Yeah, and maybe made this essentially an advert to get people to come and watch the show. Because I don't think this episode will have done for many, if you weren't watching anyway, because a lot of this would have just been, it's the end of a lot of storylines.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the best part.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun with it. It's definitely, I don't think it was a bad episode. This season's been so strong for the most part that it just, it falls behind a lot of the better episodes, which...
No, I definitely agree. As I say, I don't think it's a bad episode, especially not for us or anyone who watches the show. I just think it was a bad episode to be the one to market to everyone else.
Yeah. Because we've had 8 episodes, and I would say 5 or 6 of them have been great and better than most of season 1. And I like season 1. That's not a criticism of season 1. It's just this season's been really, really good. And this one, was a little bit more... jolted, little jarring in terms of how much was in it. So, but no, a lot of good stuff in it though. So, that's this week's Supergirl. Of course, this is the start of the crossover, which we barely talked about because there was hardly anything to do with it in it, other than Barry showing up and saying, "Hey, I helped you last year. Can you help us?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm game." Or the exact line was, "What we up against? To be continued on Flash." So, but of course, we will be back with a review of the Flash tomorrow after that airs, and then Arrow, and then Legends of Tomorrow. So join us for those, and we'll talk about the actual crossover story, that we'll actually get in the next one. And other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot. We'll see you next time.